John McEnroe is one of the most legendary tennis players of all time. His 1984 season was especially impressive, as not only did he rise to the top of the rankings, winning 3 Grand Slam titles in the process, but he also set a record by becoming the first man in the Open era to hold all 4 major titles at once, while showcasing himself as one of the most exciting young players to watch. McEnroe burst onto the scene in the late 70s and quickly established himself as one of the finest players of tennis in the world. He won his first Grand Slam title at the 1979 US Open, aged just 20, and went on to win 6 more over the course of his career. McEnroe is the only male player in tennis history to hold the world #1 ranking in both singles and doubles simultaneously. McEnroe's dominance on the court was not just limited to his Grand Slam victories, however. He was also a formidable force in other major tournaments, such as the Masters and the WCT finals. In fact, McEnroe won the Masters Grand Prix 3 times in his career, in 1978, 1983 and 1984. But it wasn't just McEnroe's on-court success that made him a tennis icon. His fiery personality and unique playing style also contributed to his legendary status. McEnroe was known for his intense competitiveness and wild outbursts, which often provoked arguments with both umpires and opponents. He was also famous for his serve and volley game, which involved charging to the net after serving and putting pressure on his opponents to hit passing shots. This style of play was not just effective, but also highly entertaining to watch. So without further ado, let's get into the legendary story of John McEnroe's 1984 tennis season. For McEnroe, his 1984 tennis season was a remarkable one, as throughout that year, he achieved an unprecedented level of success on the court. During that season, he won an astonishing 74 matches and finished with a year-end ranking of #1 in the world. It was a magical run for McEnroe, as he continued to solidify his reputation as one of the most talented players ever. McEnroe's dominance began at the Australian Open, where he notched his first Grand Slam title after cruising through the tournament without dropping a set, seemingly coasting to victory effortlessly. McEnroe's first major test, however, came at the French Open, a tournament he had never won before. Many people didn't think he had a chance on the clay courts of Roland Garros, but McEnroe had other ideas. He made it to the final, where he faced off against Ivan Lendl. It was a grueling 5-set match that lasted over 4 hours, but in the end, McEnroe's dominant performance ensured he emerged victorious, winning his first French Open title. This was a huge achievement for McEnroe, as it showed that he could win on any surface and against the best of the best in Ivan Lendl. His success at Roland Garros secured his #1 ranking while cementing McEnroe's position as a top-tier tennis player. But the biggest test of McEnroe's season was still to follow. It came 2 months later at Wimbledon, where he was the defending champion. The tournament was shaping up to be a showdown between McEnroe and his biggest rival, Jimmy Connors. The two had met in the final in the previous year, with McEnroe coming out on top in a memorable match. The 1984 final was no different. It was a classic match, a titanic tussle for the title that saw both players at the top of their game. McEnroe won the first 2 sets, but Connors fought back to win the next 2. The 5th set was one for the ages, with both players saving their best tennis to last and unleashing what can only be described as vintage shot making. In the end, it was McEnroe who emerged victorious, winning his 2nd consecutive Wimbledon title. McEnroe's next major test came at the US Open, which was played on his home turf in New York. He was the defending champion, and the crowd was firmly behind him. McEnroe made it to the final, where he faced off against Ivan Lendl once again. It was a rematch of their French Open final earlier in the year. The match was a tense affair, with both players trading blows throughout. McEnroe won the first set, but Lendl came back to win the next 2. McEnroe then won the 4th set, setting up a thrilling 5th set decider. In the end, it was McEnroe who prevailed, winning his 4th US Open title and capping off an incredible season. The rest of the season saw McEnroe continue to dominate on the court, as he claimed 3 consecutive titles, which included Wimbledon, Cincinnati, and the US Open. In the process, he set records by becoming the first player to win 3 Grand Slams in 1 year, and he also claimed the coveted career Grand Slam by winning all 4 major tournaments. In addition to his Grand Slam titles, McEnroe also won 6 tournaments on the ATP Tour during the 1984 season and finished with an overall win-loss record of 74-5. He ended the year with a total of 8 singles titles, which made him the 2nd highest ranked player behind Lendl for the season. His unprecedented dominance of the sport's biggest events solidified his place as one of the greatest players of all time and marked him as a true legend within the game of tennis. With such an amazing year under his belt, it's no surprise that McEnroe remains revered to this day. His accomplishments can still be seen even now. He was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1999 and continues to be viewed as one of the greats within the sport. Outside of his professional career, McEnroe is well known for his work as a commentator, a writer, and an advocate for the sport. He has served as the host of ESPN's Emmy Award-winning series McEnroe, which discusses tennis from different perspectives and showcases interviews from some of today's best players. As if that wasn't enough, McEnroe is also involved in philanthropic efforts both within and outside of the sport. Through his foundation, he raises money for local youth sports programs around the United States and provides opportunities for young athletes to pursue their dreams. In addition to these initiatives, McEnroe also serves on the board of directors for numerous charities, including the Billie Jean King Foundation and Laureus USA. He also supports numerous initiatives to raise awareness about environmental issues and human rights causes. Despite almost 40 years having elapsed since his legendary 1984 season, McEnroe continues to be a major presence in tennis both on and off the court and is looked upon as one of the greatest players of all time. Thanks to his hard work, dedication and determination, he will forever be remembered as an iconic figure in the world of tennis. While many current and future generations may not understand the full magnitude of McEnroe's 1984 season, its importance cannot be overstated. Not only did he achieve greatness on the court, but he also set the standard for excellence and inspired countless people. Today, there are several aspiring young players who strive to emulate the greatness of John McEnroe and serve as a reminder of just how special his 1984 season truly was. Without any doubt, the legacy of McEnroe will live on for many years and generations to come. We should never forget the fantastic achievement of this extraordinary athlete who accomplished what many would consider impossible. Many of the aspects of McEnroe's play were unique, and he earned widespread respect and acclaim from his peers for his graceful style and technical precision. To many, he's regarded as one of the most complete and skillful players in the history of the sport. He was a dominant force on the court, but McEnroe also left his mark on the sport through his outspoken nature, making sure that his voice and opinions were heard. Beyond the court, he contributed to the growth of the game through his role in broadcasting and commentating. This ensured that his impact on the sport extended well beyond his playing days. Nowadays, McEnroe continues to contribute to the development of the sport, giving insight to up-and-coming stars of tomorrow. Even though the achievements of 1984 may have faded somewhat, the legacy of McEnroe lives on and he remains an inspirational figure in the world of tennis. His passion for the sport and commitment to the game has made a lasting impression on those around him, and he remains an admired and respected character. The lessons he learned during his 1984 season continue to influence his approach to the game, and his ability to identify potential in upcoming players has been a driving force in developing the modern game. Throughout his life, McEnroe has dedicated himself to pushing the boundaries of the sport and inspiring a new generation of players. The memories of his exceptional 1984 season continue to bring joy to fans of the sport and will remain an integral part of the story of John McEnroe. One could argue that without his incredible performance in 1984, he might not have achieved such greatness in subsequent years, or perhaps the level of success that he eventually found. It can be said that it was because of his efforts that year that paved the way for future triumphs and elevated him to an iconic status among tennis lovers all over the world. While he wasn't always able to maintain the same level of success throughout the remainder of his career, his 1984 season sits at the nexus of belief, willpower, talent, and timing. He successfully proved that anything is possible when you set your mind to it, no matter how daunting it might first appear. There is no doubt that John McEnroe's efforts during this season are something we should all admire as we emulate his commitment to success. By looking back at this remarkable period in his career, we can learn valuable lessons about perseverance, tenacity, and determination, lessons that will guide us for many years to come, no matter what obstacles lie ahead. McEnroe's example shows us that with hard work and dedication, excellence is achievable. As well as his stellar results in 1984, McEnroe also won 3 Grand Slam titles and 7 Grand Slam doubles titles across his professional career. This impressive tally serves as a testament to his talent and skill as one of the greatest players ever to grasp a racket. To this day, he continues to be remembered fondly by the tennis community and held up as an example for future generations to follow. McEnroe's 84 season stands out as one of the greatest ever seen in any sport. There's no denying its place in history. His tenacity and willingness to succeed against all odds make his accomplishments even more impressive and unusual. Thank you very much for watching this video about John McEnroe's incredible 1984 tennis season. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more of this content, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and we will see you in the next video.